All right, so I had zero intention of doing like an actual reaction channel response to any of this woman's content, but seeing how AnnaWaifu wants to do a reaction channel herself now, it's only appropriate that we give her a reaction video reaction back, right? Because I listened to this whole video, right? And the amount of just disingenuous statements like this, I don't really think I can let this one slide. So we're just gonna start from the beginning, and I will elaborate on exactly why what she's saying like isn't really true, and try to explain to you what the actual problem is. Now, I'm going to try to hold back the urge to say anything too disrespectful. Not that I don't, not that I think that there is too much justification to get like super mad at this woman. I don't think she did anything that's like particularly like flame worthy. But it also the reason why I wanted to make this video is because it shows a president. I'm probably using the wrong words here, but it kind of shows what the dynamic is between men and women in nerd spaces. Because I was also working on a video. People within the synth community know that I am working on this video talking about women in nerd spaces, and the problems that occur when women kind of come into nerd spaces with disingenuous intention, right? So I'm kind of be talking about that, but like the main like fully edited video will cover that subject more broadly. But this video is specifically for AnnaWaifu and how I feel AnnaWaifu plays into that, because this is kind of an example of what I'm talking about, the stuff that she ends up saying, right? So that's enough preamble. I just wanted to set that up so we know that this isn't like, man, is not a bully stream, right? For all you Deadwing dork fans out there, not a bully stream. But like, I'm also not going to just outright sugarcoat this, because she just says a lot of stuff that's kind of like, really? It borders, dare I say, it is just straight up womanese, right? Oh, that's misogynist. The fact that I can say something like that and people's initial reaction is to call me a misogynist is kind of just proving my point. But let's just get it over with, right? So, let me just bring it back to the beginning.
All right. Okay, I know this is gonna be different from my other content, but I didn't. I just have to get this out, man, because like my older fans are coming back, and I'm pretty sure.
Now, one thing to mention about the older fans coming back, I do find it very strange how people were able to find her channel instantly after it was created. Especially George. Is the mystery boyfriend that she's talking about, is it George? I don't know. It just seems very strange when a channel exists for like 5 minutes and all the old fans just come rushing in. Like, I don't know. She's not exactly doing the best job of hiding herself, but at the same time, I find it a little difficult to believe that it was this easy to track down her new content. But she also needs to stop talking about synth in general. That's something I'm going to talk about when we get to the end of the video. That I do genuinely believe that she should stop watching synth altogether, and I will explain why.
Some of the community that hates me are probably thinking like,
Nobody in this community hates you. Okay, so define hate. See, this is what I'm talking about when I say womanese, right? Women's definition of what hate is and a guy's definition of hate are very different things, because we're socialized very differently, right? So you know how like guys, they roughhouse with each other and talk shit, and they're just like, oh man, you f slur, you just oh man, and then like behind each other's back they're like, oh man, that guy's like so cool, but like women will kiss each other's asses and then talk mad shit about each other behind each other's back. So it's kind of like, oh man, so define hate, right? Because when she talks about being like run out of the community, I don't know if she's gonna watch this video. I don't really care either way, but I'm going to record the video under the pretense that like I'm talking to her, right? Just out of respect, because I am trying to make like an actual point. Again, not a bully stream, right? But if you remember the account Rip Asuka, I remember like that was one of the people who like criticized you the most on one of these discords that you used to be in. Yeah, that was me, right? Cuz what I remember saying to you is that I wanted you to elaborate on your position, and I even tried to get you on VC one time when we were talking about your obsession with Elvis and all this other shit that we were talking about. Like, if you look past the messages in the Discord we were together in, nobody in that Discord hates you, right? We all talked about your fucking Elvis fetish with you. You talked about how you like chubby guys with us. We talked about quite a few things, and then you released the video about Synthetic Man, the Fallout show and shit, and how like his take on the show is stupid, and everyone called you woke because you had a different opinion. Honey, that's not what happened. All right, what happened is that you completely missed the point of what he was talking about, and instead of saying that you disagree with him on something like let's say miscegenation, right? It's more like you don't know what any of that stuff is, which that's whatever, right? I'm not saying that every single synth fan is required by law to get JQ'd. It's just that you don't seem to understand the broader context of what he's talking about when he talks about race mixing and stuff like that. And I personally think the point about miscegenation is kind of stupid, not because I don't think that the actual point being made is important. Is more like it's referring to something in past tense. Like you can't look at modern day America with a straight face and then talk about, oh, they're promoting race mixing when it's kind of already happened. The guy who got his buck broken by a big fat black chick is going to talk to me about race mixing is kind of funny. The sex must have been really, really bad. But like, you're not coming at it from the perspective of like, okay, this doesn't really make any sense because blah 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 politics, right? Like you don't understand the political leanings of his content, and instead he's just some cute jester guy. He's just some cute jester who says some like really like stupid stuff because I like him and he's cute and he has like a funny voice, tee hee, right? And like there's not even that many black people, so I don't really understand it. It's not about the quantity of black people. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a expert in this field, so I feel like I can tell you about black representation, right? Because every time I go to brush my teeth, there's this N-word in the bathroom with me who just shows up out of nowhere, and he's like always staring me in the face, and I'm trying to get my landlord to evict this guy, but and I was trying to make a self-referential joke about my race, but it's falling apart. And I'm fucking filming this at fucking 6 o'clock in the morning. Look, point is, it's not about how many black people are in the show itself, right? It's about who those characters are, what those characters do, and why those characters are there. Like, just as an example, because I'm rambling instead of doing the video response, but I'd like to believe that this rambling is important, right? For instance, the new Assassin's Creed game is coming up, whatever, the Japanese one that has the black samurai with the rap music and the tone death rap music that only a fat white woman would think was cool, right? Because that's totally not the most racist thing I've seen in a hot minute. Having a black samurai who has to speak in Ebonics with fucking rap music and shit in the background. Why is there a black guy in feudal Japan in the first place? All you need is one of them. All you need is one of them to ask that question. And she does talk about in her video here about how Fallout doesn't take place in the 1950s and that there should be black people in the story and that most of the characters oh, sorry, I touched my mic. It's probably going to pick that up. Fuck it, I'm not going to re-record this. Fuck it. That most of the characters are white, and that's not a big deal because most of the characters are white. But it's like, even if half the cast was black, that wouldn't really be a big deal. Maybe I'm speaking from a personal bias, right? For representation bias. But like, you could have fucking 60-70% of the fucking roster, right, of the fucking cast be black, and it wouldn't really be that big of a deal if you're being honest with yourself, right? The problem comes from like the type of representation. Like, what do the demographics say about the universe that the show takes place in compared to real life? Now, it would be easier for me to elaborate on this if I were to actually do like an analysis of the Fallout show itself, right? Because maybe if I did it, it would make a little bit more sense than Synth because of his attitude, his demeanor. He's more let's just say lively and more antagonistic about his displeasure with wokeness in media. Well, I tend to be more analytical when I talk about this type of stuff. But it's I don't think it's a stretch to say that this woman has never watched American Krogan or anything like that, and Synth is kind of in that sphere where he's like maybe like a tier or so below just being outright JQ'd the same way that American Krogan was, which is how he got ran off of YouTube in the first place because they didn't particularly like that. But it's like you can't watch a channel like Synths or watch like old ER content and then just continue to keep telling yourself that it's just a joke. Like these, you don't really agree with this guy's politics. You say that you're on the right, that you don't agree with leftism and stuff like that. You say that, but you haven't really said anything that really like proves that really elaborates on that. It'd be like just saying, I'm against the trans movement because it's grooming kids, and I don't like it because it's bad for kids. Okay, well, why do you have a problem with that? Well, I have a problem with it because I have a problem with it. You see what I'm saying? Like she hasn't really explained to us what her politics are. She's just repeated what like people on the right would want to hear. So that's something I'm going to elaborate further, is like why I feel like that's part of the problem is that, and I got to be perfectly honest with you, honey, I don't fully believe that this persona that you have created is actually you in real life. I don't necessarily think that you've lied about every single thing that you've said about yourself, but this is definitely an issue of like I can't really tell how much sincerity is behind what you say when you refuse to elaborate on any of the things that you say. Don't think that being a woman excludes you from having to elaborate on anything that you say or explain your position. Like I want to hear a woman's opinion on these types of things, right? Because I find that interesting. The problem is that every time a woman comes into our space, so to speak, there is no chudette. You guys always have something about you that is like the whole having a boyfriend thing, the whole fake self thing. I'll address that when she talks about it because she's about to talk about it real soon. But it's like, dude, you obviously don't really get what that community is about. Like, you don't really fit in there because you're not really one of us. You aren't an incel. And she talks about that near the end of the video too. So she dedicates a lot of energy to that. So I'll talk about that there when I get to that. But like, obviously, you're not an incel. You are very heavily exaggerating, very very romanticizing the relationships between men and women. Like how easy women really have it when it comes to finding relationships. You guys have it way easier. Maybe not easier in terms of finding a good relationship, but like you can't convince me that women are not lonely by choice. I will elaborate on that as well. And lastly, before I finally continue the video and stop rambling, right? Do if you don't understand any of the political talking points or what Synth is actually referring to when he talks about space toucans and stuff like that, I mean, you can call yourself like a casual Synth fan, but you don't really understand anything that he's talking about. And it's becoming more and more apparent to me now that Synth is just kind of a lolcow for a lot of people. Like, no one really gives two shits about what he's actually talking about. And that's just more evidence that wokeness has won. No one is actually anti-woke, which is it's kind of like that's the thing, right? It's like, oh, I'm against woke. So you guys are calling me woke because I don't have a problem with the Fallout show. Oh my god! But it's like, if you were against woke stuff, you would have seen what everyone else saw, and when people called you out on that, you frame it as you're being shat on and being like pushed out of the community. Nobody told you to leave. You left. Nobody kicked you. I don't think you were kicked from any of these servers. You have to give me an example of another server you were in where they kicked you, because we didn't kick you from our server. You left. That's what actually happened. So, all right, let's continue. I apologize again. 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm not going to preface all this shit because it's either I make the video now or I don't make it at all.
Oh, you're a synthetic man trader. You were a trader this whole time. And because you got a biff, you think you're better or whatever. You had it on the easy side. Bit, 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 bit.
I don't remember anyone ever saying that you thought you were better than us for having a boyfriend. No, nobody said that. At least not in the one that I was in. You get to give me an example of someone who specifically said that you thought you were better than the rest of us for having a boyfriend. That didn't happen. What did happen is that people called you a fake cell because here we think you're the female incel, the chudette, and then you have a boyfriend and you claim that it's luck, but it's probably more like you stopped holding out for Chad and just settled for some nice oofy doofy that was just around you at the time. Okay, I know I'm outing myself using fucking black pill terminology, but the point I'm trying to get at here is that like I've not met a woman who's like so ferociously unattractive that she couldn't get some guy to like her. And if you know how women are, women's sexuality is compared to men's sexuality, like this should need an explanation, right? Too many black pillars have talked about the relationships between men and women for this to kind of not make any sense anymore. You have to be actively not listening, trying not to listen to people talk about this to not understand it. Just to give you my own personal example of what I'm talking about, I used to know this one chick. I guess we were never really friends to begin with. It has to do with less to do with her, more about my relationship with her brother, who I only started talking to again very very recently. But that's my business, right? Point is that this one was 450 pounds and she had an OnlyFans and a boyfriend. Like, come on, man. Like her sub five counterpart, right? Her sub five counterpart wouldn't have an OnlyFans, that's for sure. Probably wouldn't have a girlfriend unless he had like money or something. Like, you can be a 650-pound land whale and still find some guy who's willing to go down on you because of the crazy fetishes that people have or just the lack of standards that people have. So it's just not comparable, the two dynamics, right? Like if she's really as average looking as she said, and she doesn't even call herself ugly, she says she's average looking. She's trying to frame it as average looking women struggle to find men. That's not true at all. I mean, if that were true, what about all these incels? Why are there so many hopeless men, but not nearly as many hopeless women out there? Who can't find this love or can't find a boyfriend. Like you just managed to find a boyfriend of quote unquote luck. How did you find him? Right? Elaborate. How did you find that guy? Where did he find you at? How did you get lucky? And like how many attempts? How many like past experience have you had trying to get a boyfriend and flopping? Right? Are you going up to guys and they're rejecting you, or are you just sitting on your ass playing video games, hoping that somebody comes to you? Because if you're a guy and you're doing that stuff, like, and you're like, oh, women reject me, but I'm not actually trying, then you're not in a position to complain because you never actually tried, right? The same thing you're saying about women. You can say that about any man too. But like that's my point, is that needs to be clarified, because I'm not even necessarily saying that Anna is lying about that, but what people are saying online and my own personal experiences that I've seen from like other people I haven't talked to, other incels who have like their virgin rage and shit, and just how many men are in this community compared to how many women, because how many anti woke women, how many truly how many red pill women are there on this planet really? Have you ever met a woman who's truly JQ'd? That's not a thing, right? Women are very liberal by default. They're the ones that vote for most of this crap in the first place. So it shouldn't be any surprise that AnnaWaifu didn't see a problem with the Fallout show to begin with. That's her opinion. She can have her opinion on it. Like, it's not about me saying that she shouldn't like the Fallout show if she likes that show. But she also says in this video that she doesn't like the show. That's another thing that needs to be talked about. I might as well just push the video forward because I'm repeating myself, but that needed to be said, right? Like nobody said that you were better than us for having a boyfriend, and like how did you get a boyfriend in the first place? If you were truly a femcel, you wouldn't have a boyfriend because it'd be too difficult for you to do that. Like how long did it take you to even find that guy? Okay, I'm just asking the same question over and over again, like she's in the room with me answering the question. Where are they? Like I'm just interrogating her at this point.
right? So, uh, I really want to say I don't hate Synthetic Man. I know people are gonna say that's not true or whatever. But like, I still watch the guy. Like, I still watch him. I
I don't think anyone is convinced that you generally hate this guy. It's more like you never were really a fan of him. It's like it feels like you're a fan of synth in like the most ironic way possible. He's a cute guy who says some stuff about old video games that you allegedly like, and that's why you like him, but you don't understand any of his politics or any of the jokes about space toucans. And he's been talking about that shit for like years now. So it took you long enough, right? Like how long was it going to take you to realize that this guy is like a couple of steps away from being a white nationalist? Like how long was that going to take for you to understand that? Okay, maybe that's laying it on a little thick. The term white nationalist. Hopefully, I don't get got by YouTube for saying that. I'm exaggerating it somewhat to just make the point a little more clear to you that you know the synthler is not a very progressive person, or at the very least, he larps as one. I don't think that Synth is the type of person who lies about stuff. I do think a lot of that rhetoric is kind of goofy, for lack of better words. A lot of it is larping. People who celebrate Hitler's birthday in one breath, and then a couple of days later, it's revealed that they were raging homosexual and had like gay role play. You know what I'm referencing. The Synthcels know who I'm talking about. Like it turns out the guy is actually just gay. So especially since Synth is into Fuda, I wouldn't be surprised that Synth is more progressive than he lets on. I mean, he gave a positive review to Baldur's Gate 3 for of all things. Like, come on, the Bear 6 game, really, really, Synth, come on. You were supposed to defeat the Sith. The Sith. You're supposed to defeat the Sith, not join them. Here you are telling me Baldur's Gate 3 isn't degenerate as shit. But yeah, like you just don't get that part of his content, and that's fine if you don't. But that's where this divide is coming from when it comes to the Fallout show, because you're talking, or and one you've got someone who's talking about miscegenation and race mixing, and you're just like, I've never heard of that before, because I don't know what you're talking about, because you've never actually gone into any of that stuff. Now, if you left the community because you don't agree with that or whatever, then that's fine. But it's like you're still trying to frame yourself as, oh no, I'm right wing, or I'm not lefty, I'm not woke. I don't like the trans stuff. I don't agree with any of that stuff. But it's like the more you talk, the more it just sounds like you're a centrist. Like I'm pretty sure like Sargon is more right leaning than you at this point, and if your response to that is, well, who's Sargon, that just kind of proves my point. Like you just kind of shouldn't really be here to begin with, and that's not like a get the fuck out kind of statement either. I mean, like I feel like you, Anna, if I were to take what you are saying, assuming you are being genuine here, is that you are in the wrong community, period, and you need to find a spot that's more accommodating for someone like you on the internet. But there's some stuff later on in the video that also kind of leads me to believe that this is you're just trying to get attention, and I'll elaborate on that when we get there.
still enjoy him, especially when some of his takes are pretty out there, like pretty out there. Um,
define out there. See, this is what I'm talking about. His points are out there, but we're not going to explain why. We're not going to explain why it's wrong. You know, it's like he said the word male. He said male. He said race mixing. Oh my God, race mixing. But you know, the great replacement or anything. I don't know anything about any of that, and I'm not going to address any of it because I don't know what any of it is, and I don't care to know what any of it is because you know I'm a disingenuous woke leftoid, and I'm just not going to engage with any of the talking points honestly. You know, it's gotten to the point now where you could be the most insane, disingenuous, right-leaning fucktard of all time, and since nobody will have an honest conversation with you, you kind of anybody who notices that is going to think that you might have some credentials to what you're saying. Because just saying something is out there doesn't mean that it's untrue, right? It like this reminds me of like TFM all over again when he would say like take women's rights away, and people would just focus on like how absurd and obscene, like oh my god, he's trying to take women's rights away, but you never address why he said it, and that doesn't really say that he's wrong. And you know, fast forward to today, I still have a hard time believing that he's actually wrong when he says that. And, you know, and some people are going to hear that just like, did you just, are you implying that we should be taking women's rights away? Well, that reaction is my entire point. It's based on emotions and just the sensationalism. I guess that's even a word. Just the sensation of like, oh my God, you know, you're not allowed to make fun of magic in Asia. You just can't say certain things. So when you say that his points are out there, it just sounds like he said something that's controversial, but not something that's like untrue. I think a perfect example of this, let me just readjust my headset. It was starting to fall off. A perfect example of this would be when he talked about the all gender bathrooms in the Dead Space remake, and people tried to downplay it as like not woke because, like, come on, it's just all gender bathrooms because we're trying to conflate unisex bathrooms with all gender bathrooms when all gender implies that there's more than two genders to begin with. And that's what he was talking about when he emphasized the all gender bathrooms being in the game, period. He's had multiple videos, at least two, when he goes into detail on his definition of woke and what it means when something is woke. And then, you know, you, Anna, make a video talking about how you don't know what he means by woke. And you want to say that you're a fan of his content, but you don't know what he means when he says woke. When if you've been paying attention to his content, you would know what he meant when he said woke. So how long have you been watching this guy really? You keep talking about his old game reviews. Are we talking about the ones from like 3 or 4 years ago, however long it was till he started making content like the very beginning? Because even then, like when his channel blew up, I got into Synthetic Man when he made his like the Last of Us 2 review, like the old one way back when. That's how I discovered his channel. I think he was like wasn't even more than like 4,000 subs or whatever back then. He was still really really small at the time, and it's crazy to think he's gotten so big after such a long time. But my point is that you know he's been making references to the JQ and shit even back then. It's like how did you not notice any of that even at the time? Because now that he's becoming you know more mask off about it, you're just kind of like, oh that god, that's so extreme. Like oh my god, that's so crazy. It's like there's not even that many black people in the show. Like it's more obvious in the Resident Evil show. How is it more obvious in Resident Evil? What because they race swapped Wesker? Why? Why would they do that? It's not about what they did. It's about why they did it, and what it means, and like how they're doing it. Like what is that about, right? Where they you know take a character and they make them gay, or they make them a woman, or they make them a person of color. Why did they do that? What is that about, right? Now, I could again, you know, I could go on and on about elaborating about the nuances of that, but the point of the matter is, we're talking about progressive identity politics and the great replacement, or the infamous white erasure. Those are the talking points being discussed here. Now, whether or not you agree with those things, or whether or not that's good or bad, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what I'm trying to elaborate here is what these people are actually talking about. Period. Right? Like what is the conversation revolving around? Because what the way that Anna talks about it, it's like she walking to a KKK meeting on her way to the grocery store to buy ingredients to make more cookies or something. Or our little grandma's trying to make more cookies or something, and it's just like, how did I end up here? And I'm just like, well, like, did you read the directions on the map when you were on your way to the store to get more flour for your fucking chocolate chip cookies, or did you just like, how did you end up here? How do you end up watching a channel like Synthetic Man and you just don't know any of these talking points prior? It just feels very strange to me. It'd be like watching ER's videos since he made like those Steven Universe reviews that actually got, axed off of YouTube for being too spicy, and then all of a sudden he makes a joke about Israel in one of his streams, and you're just like, huh? Like, you just had to not been paying attention to get to that point. There's no way.
And I know people are gonna say that like, oh, you're woke or something um because I didn't think the Fallout show was that woke, which I didn't even say that. I said that it just wasn't as woke as other shows. Like, you look at something like the Resident Evil show, and then you look at something like the Halo show, and it's like it's pretty obvious.
How? How is this show any different? Oh well, see, the Resident Evil show had 10 black people. This one only had two. It's like that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. Like, it's not an issue of quantity, it's an issue of quality. Because if it was about quantity, then any female character who's like a lead in a story or something would be bad, right? Because one of the videos that you deleted, Anna, talking about, anime characters, like, what is Kill la Kill woke because it has a female protagonist in it? The way that Kill la Kill is written compared to the Fallout show are two very different things. But you're not really a noticer, so you wouldn't really notice that. We're talking about the surface level of how many black people or how many women are in a show, and not how those characters are written in the context of the universe that is being created and what type of messaging, what kind of political messaging might be implied when those types of stories are written. That's not what we're really talking about, because we're just focusing on numbers, right? So that just kind of implies some media literacy issues on your part, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm seeing things that aren't there because I've been indulging in too much chud content. Either way, right? Like, that's the funniest thing about it, is that there's never any real discussion here. Since detractors never actually have a discussion with any of the talking points, and it's like, okay, well, here are my sources, here are my examples, and this is why this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, blah blah blah. They shoot out there, they do their little 30-minute, 40, 50-minute response video, and they take it all down. It all just comes crumbling down. That's not what happens. It's he said something about race mixing. That's bad because he's racist and he's like a bad man. He's just a bad man. That's what happened during the whole EFAP controversy. It was just, he's a bad man. He's a bad guy and he hates black people because he dared to point out how, there's this Norse mythology game that just has black people in it, because we have to make a specifically one of the most whitest folklores of all time into a multicultural, diverse hellscape. Why are there black people in that game? I don't remember any black people in the original God of War series, but I had EFAP fans coming at me with their claws out and out shit, saying that the black man is racist for pointing that out. You see what I'm talking about? People will say that they're not woke in one breath, and then their actions say something completely different. Because Mahler will go on record saying that he's anti-woke and shit, and even calling people the F slur when he doesn't like them, but then has the audacity to go after Synthetic Man for making edgy jokes in his videos and shit. And all these people trying to say that he's like, a racist, and Anna, of course, comes out and defends him on those things. So we're thinking that, Anna gets it because she defended Synthetic Man when everyone was going after him, and then this Fallout show happens, and there's just this complete 180 of what, well, actually, like, this show is perfectly fine, and like what Synth is saying is like stupid because like I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. Like, do you like Synth because you agree with what he says, or do you just think he's a cute jester who entertains you? Like, he can be that if that's how you view him. I'm not saying you have to like fucking pray to the Church of Sittler, fucking Sieg Heil with the rest of the Synthcels, and just be a devout fan of his lord or some shit. If he's just a lol cow to you, then it is what it is. But like, you need to come to terms with the fact that you don't really like this guy the way that you say you do. You really don't. Like, come on, like, you gotta stop with this. You gotta stop with this disingenuous hog shit.
But like the Fallout show, I don't know, man. I just don't think it's that bad compared to other things.
I don't think it's that bad. It's not the same as it being good. See, this is what I'm talking about. It's not that bad. It's not so bad. Yeah, but it's still pretty bad though. If you actually paid attention to what was in the show.
That's right. Like I think like the Fallout show is 20 times. I mean, the Resident Evil show is probably like 20 times more woke
No examples given, by the way.
than anything in the world that I've ever seen. And the only thing I can think of that is really woke in the Fallout show, I guess, is that there is a trans character that just shows up for like no reason.
Why do you think they did that, Anna? Why do you think that trans character that shows up for no fucking reason is even in the show in the first place? Could it have something to do with the political leanings of the people who worked on the fucking show? See, this is what I'm talking about. It's not so bad. There's just one trans person in the show. It's not so bad. If you give these people an inch, they will take a mile. You can't just sit there and pick and choose on what woke shit you're willing to tolerate if that's something you actually care about. Which is funny because I talk about the whole anti woke shit. I wouldn't even necessarily call myself a particularly anti woke person, or else I would have chimped out way more having finished RZ the Jewel of Faramore, or yeah, they call it Faramore. It's spelled Faramore, but it's pronounced Faramore. But it's like, dude, like the main villain of the game, Daimor, is voiced by a trans woman. There's a very non-subtle scene in the game that's technically optional, but like it's there for literally no reason because it's optional. So that, again, no reason, that heavily insinuates that RZ is gay. So it's like, what's that doing in there? That's a very heavily progressively leaning game, and I liked my time with that game. I like that game. I think it's a good game, but I'm not gonna sit there and pretend like that's not there. So the question becomes, do you enjoy something despite its woke properties, or do the woke properties stop you from enjoying the show at all? So if Anna enjoys the Fallout show despite the fact that it's woke, that's perfectly fine. She can have that opinion of the show if she wants to. Saying that, oh, it's not as bad as other shows. Okay, that's whatever, right? But like, you're calling Synthetic Man out for complaining about the show because he has a problem with something that you don't. Like, you didn't really explain that it's not there, right? You didn't disprove his point. You're just kind of saying that, well, I have a higher tolerance for bullshit than he does. So, okay, so we have higher tolerance for gay shit in the media that we consume compared to Synth. Well, to a degree, because Synth apparently will tolerate Baldur's Gate 3, which I can't turn a blind eye to Baldur's Gate. I just can't. Some of this stuff, I guess it really depends, right? I can't turn a blind eye to Baldur's Gate, but all this talking about the Resident Evil show and how it's like more definitively more woke than the Fallout show. It's not about which one is or isn't more woke than the other. It's like, why is there woke shit in there, period? Like, you know what propaganda is, right? You know what normalization is, right? You know? But, no one who has a problem with synth knows what any of those terms mean. So they just say he's a big meanie, and they don't even try to argue against it. So, like, even if he was, like, dead wrong about something and didn't make any sense, he was just being fucking an idiot, no one would ever actually address it honestly, because so many people are fixated on the tone of what he said. Like, oh my god, he made a eugenics joke about black people. Oh my god. But like, I'm not gonna read into what he actually meant, because that would mean having an honest conversation, and no one wants to have that. I just thought that Anna would be different from those types of people.
At all. Like, she doesn't do anything. Or he, she, I don't even know what it is. But I have no idea why that character was in there.
What do you want?
You have no idea why that character was in there. Well, maybe if you were a noticer like the rest of us, you would already know. We already know why that character is in there. We already know why that character is in the show. You either don't know because you're not a chudette, or you don't want to acknowledge it because, acknowledging why that's there would mean that you'd have to actually, take the L and admit that Simple's right about that fucking show.
Serve no purpose at all. Like, I don't get it at all. So,
I understood why that character was there. You guys want to tell me why that character was in there? Anyone in the comment section want to explain to me why they would just put a random trans character in this show like they would do with any other time they do this shit? What's the reason they put diversity hires in every other show? You tell me what the reason is. I'll wait.
I mean, that's about it. I mean, because you look at the. I don't even think there's that many black people in the show. And, like, you guys gotta understand that, like, Fallout takes place in a world that is similar to ours. It takes place in the future in 2077. It just has the aesthetic of the 50s. That's it. Like, it doesn't take place in the actual 1950s. So people who keep saying, "Oh, it's woke because there's black people in the show," it's like, it's not. It does.
That's the thing, though, is that maybe I'm giving these evil racist because there's a lot of white nationalist larpers, people. It's like, I'm actually like really really gay and like taking it up the butt, so I'm gonna pretend to be a nat sock on the internet and cover myself in like Pepe memes and stuff to cover up the fact that I'm actually gay. Arguably like Synth with the whole Fuda thing, right? Debatably, that's the actual problem with Synth, is that he's probably wants to take it up the butt with Gerudo. Probably would be down for Gerudo sex or something, but because we can't let them know that, so I have to pretend to hate black people on the internet. But it's it's not the number of black people that's the problem. I don't think anyone is really saying that it's woke because it has black people in it. It's the context of why black people are there. Like, for instance, right, like I mentioned God of War earlier. People will make excuses for like Angry Boda being black, and how, like, oh, you racist? Well, the actress earned her role. The actress is black and she earned her role. So like, she was the best actress for the job. But it's like it's a video game. They could have made the actress could have been black, and they could have just made the character white. I mean, Samurai Jack is played by a black guy, but they didn't make him black. He's Japanese, but like his voice actor is black, and to my knowledge, has always been black. It should be the same voice actor still. So why isn't Samurai Jack black? Why isn't trying to think? There's so many other characters that are escaping my mind right now who are white but are played by like black actors. I mean, Sonic the Hedgehog, he used to be played by the same guy who did Steve Urkel. That was a black guy. Yeah, Jaleel White played Sonic the Hedgehog in like those old Sonic cartoons, but they didn't make Sonic black. He didn't just become Shadow. He was still blue, right? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. There's no reason for making a character black just because the voice actor happens to be black, right? And yet they will do that anyway. Why? What's the motivation behind those types of changes? So when it comes to the amount of black people in the Fallout show, yeah, is it stupid to ask for an ethno state in a Fallout show? I would actually agree with Anna and say that, yeah, that is kind of stupid. Why are you emphasizing so much that there's black people in the show, right? There's too many black people here. But see, when you talk about race mixing and the erasure of white culture, it's not really a conversation about numbers. It's about representation and the implications of those things, right? Again, I could go into more detail about those things that would distract even more from responding to the video itself. But if you don't know what any of that is, then you probably just should be here, or you should very least brush up on your homework before continuing to indulge in any of this content. I'll say this much about Synthetic Man, right? As entertaining as content can be, it's definitely not the most educational stuff. If you actually want to learn more about like the topics that I'm kind of like softly alluding to, look up American Krogan. See if you can watch some of his old stuff on Odyssey or something. He'll let you in on what this is about. Krogan's content was pretty fire. So yeah, so if you can watch a channel like American Krogan, if you haven't already, and like you agree with his talking points, then maybe you're more of a chudette than we thought. If you watch that content and you're just like, this guy is unhinged, oh my god, then you probably shouldn't be watching Synthetic Man, because every time he complains about race, he's complaining about that type of shit. Though there's also the possibility that maybe he's just pretending to hate black people because he's actually gay. Don't do not underestimate how many Synthcels are actually just homosexuals. That's a pattern that I'm noticing.
It doesn't take place in the 1950s. It takes place in 2077. When the bombs drop. So it wouldn't be hard to believe that there would be black people in the Fallout universe. so, um, and it's like there's not even that many black people in the show. I think the only black people in the show is the evil mustache twirling villain, uh, Cooper's wife, and then there's um, what's his name? You got the fat black guy in the vault, and then you got Maximus. Right, that's it. I can't think of any more. And then there's just like that random engineer who's black, and he doesn't even like. Who cares? He doesn't.
I mean, I lost count. It sounds like you need like 6 or 7 people, but like again, it's not about the number of black people in the show, right? Here's an example of what I'm talking about, a more definitive example. Like if you've ever seen like Has Been Hotel, God forbid you've ever seen that shit show. Why are there so many gay people in hell? What are you trying to say, Vivzy? But it's like when you do stuff like make the god or like the lead angel a black woman, well, is it racist for me to point that out? Right? Like why can't God be black? But it's like why are you taking figures from like white culture or like Christianity or something that was like allegedly, right? Kind of Christianity is more of a Hebrew thing. It's more of a small hat thing if you actually look into it. But why are all these characters that are usually depicted as white are all of a sudden black? Like all these characters have all these fictional skin colors and shit, but like the one big giant angel chick just happens to be very definitively black. That's very strange, right? When they take women and minorities and make them like artificially, well, I say artificially, like that doesn't really make sense. How do I put it? It's more like if you're familiar with the term Mary Sue, right? It's kind of like that, where the female character is like super perfect and they don't have any real flaws because we have to give positive representation, and maybe there's like a white dude who gets treated like shit or something because he has to be the goofy best friend or something along those lines. It's like when the black guy is portrayed as some kind of tech whiz or something. It's like every other character now feels like what was his name? Cookie, I forgot. I think his name is Cookie from Ned's Declassified, or fucking Tucker Foley from Danny Phantom. That's every other black character now, and they don't want to give them any real genuine flaws or anything because they have to be super cool and badass, but also like completely harmless non-sexual, like fucking what was his name, Finn from the Star Wars reboots movies, the Star Wars reboots, that one, the whole thing with like Rey being a Mary Sue and all that kind of shit. I mean, you can make the argument that Rey isn't really a Mary Sue. You can make the argument that Finn is actually a good character, but now we're just back to square one. If you don't think that the Fallout show is woke, then you must also think that the Star Wars movies weren't woke either, because it's the same type of writing. It's basically the same type of writing, the same type of characters, the same type of shit, over and over again. And if you're not one of those people, you're not one of those people. But don't sit around and act like you are one of those people when you're not. Oh man, I'm totally against woke stuff. And she just got through watching The Force Awakens for the 10th time with her boyfriend or some shit. Like that doesn't make any sense. You don't see what other people are seeing in this show, because I don't think your politics match with the communities as much as you want to act like it does. And I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying like maybe you should go somewhere that's more fitting for you. You know, there's plenty of other YouTube channels, communities, and shit. I don't know, like, because she talks about mental health. So I'm just saying, like, if her mental health is really being disturbed by people simply disagreeing with her on something, that this is, they're an angry mob trying to push her out of the synth community. Oh my god. Then go somewhere else that's better for you and stop talking about this guy. Like, this video shouldn't even exist. If I were Anna, I would just stop talking about this guy altogether. It's not like you're gonna get together with this guy. It's not like you're gonna break up with your chubby boyfriend and go after synths. Like, fucking leave this guy in the dust, man. It's time to move on. And I said that for your own good. Like, don't do this to yourself. Why are you engaging in all this negative activity when you don't really have to?
Even have he doesn't even really do anything. So I don't think I don't I don't know, man. Like, what about the original Fallout games? Like, the original Fallout games have black people. Like, I don't get it.
The original Fallout games also didn't have progressive, hyper left leaning writing in it. Oh man, I don't. Well, after that, I forgot that character's name. The dude covered in the bandages. You can't make a video talking about that guy and then tell me that the writing in the original Fallout games is anything like this shit show. You come on, come on. Again, it's like I said. It's not about the number of black people. It's about how they're written. Right? Are they written to be actual characters, or are they Mary Sue self inserts that take the place of characters who should have been white, or I guess a case of the new Assassin's Creed game, Japanese, and they all also happen to be gay and every other fucking sexual degenerate flavor under the rainbow. I don't know. Really, really strange. Like, is it subversion, or are they an actual black character? That's what you need to ask yourself when you engage with this type of media. Is it a black character, or is it a black character, right? Is there an emphasis on the character, or is there an emphasis on the character's race or sex or gender identity or sexual orientation? Why is this character in the show? I would need to set time aside to explain it. But I also shouldn't have to explain it, because you would think that AnnaWaifu would already understand it. She gave the impression of someone who supposedly already understood this, but it just kind of comes off as you being a synthetic dick writer. Like, you just make videos about synths to get attention to yourself because synth is really big right now. So when he gets in hot water, you make a video defending him or something, it gets attention on you when you don't understand any of his talking points. You made the mistake of saying that, or maybe you did that on purpose for more attention. This feels like this is about attention. I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, but I got to be brutally honest that the new VTuber avatar, which don't think the breast enlargement did not go unnoticed, Anna. That thing did not have as big as tits as it does now. You just gave it bigger tits for no fucking reason. Interesting. I feel like you're doing this to get attention.
Not even that many black people in the show. There's like fucking like 4. Most of the characters are white. So I don't know. And then, like, you got the you got
If all the characters were white and like the giant like ubermensch superpowered characters, there was like, let's say there's like a just 10 black characters, and they were all like strong female black women, strong female black queens, and they were in charge of enslaving the entire race of pathetic, lonely white incel men, and there was like 100 of those characters in the show. Like, the numbers wouldn't matter. Like, the numbers wouldn't matter, because the number is not the number of minorities in the show is not what this conversation is actually about.
the people who are like, oh well, the men are like pointless or something, and it's like, well, they've been living in a vault for like years and years. Like, of course, they're not gonna know how to fight. The raiders are gonna be competent because they've been fighting for years, and it's just like, that's synthetic man's interpretation. That's fine, whatever.
I mean, if the Raiders are competent at fighting, you would think that. I don't know. I mean, it's not like the pregnant chick didn't die. Not saying that she has to die or something. It's just, the image, just the image of a pregnant woman with a machine gun being all badass and cool, that's meant as female empowerment. It's supposed to make women feel like, yeah, women can do whatever a man can do. Anything you can do, I can do better. Which flies in the face of biological reality. See, this is what I'm talking about when I talk about like propaganda and normalization of shit. And of course, a woman is not going to see a problem with that. But if you're a guy or a woman who's old enough to recognize, back in the day when this stuff wasn't so prevalent. Well, actually, no, it's been prevalent for like probably over a century by now. But it's like, oh, I'm a strong, independent woman who like, a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle. And then when it comes to having the door hold open for you or having all your bills paid by assuming you don't have daddy government doing all that shit, then I'm just a girl, I'm just a woman, you turn it on and off whenever it's convenient. So like, no, I'm not gonna turn a blind eye to badass pregnant woman because the badass pregnant woman with a machine gun is meant to make women look cool and send this message that all because you're pregnant doesn't mean that you're helpless and incompetent or whatever. When it's like, if you're pregnant and you like, oh, it's sexist to not have women allow women to ride on horseback while they're pregnant because of the misconception that will cause a miscarriage because a bumping up and down a horse couldn't possibly cause you to have a miscarriage. Just stupid shit like that, like, and the whole horse thing, like that is a conversation I had with a feminist way back in the day. That's not even a joke. These people, they want to portray women as like just as good as men, and like, but why are women oppressed if they're just as good as men? Like what happens? Instead of acknowledging the fact that men are stronger than women and that with all the technology, the vast majority of it being created by men, dare I say, men might actually even be, oh my god, smarter than women. See the fact that that's sexist, saying that since men take up the most extreme ends of the bell curve, like they're some of the stupidest people, but also some of the smartest people. Well, women are more in the middle. God forbid that you say that men are tend to be smarter than women because of those extreme ends of the bell curve. There's this insistence that everything is equal, which is not how it is in real life. So they push this propaganda in media to effectively brainwash you into something that's just not true. It's just not reality. It's ideological. It's an ideological farce at best. Just, oh, it's my fantasy world where everyone is equal. It's my power fantasy to have everybody be equal, right? That's like the best possible interpretation of it. The worst part of possible interpretation of it is that they're trying to brain fry you by trying to subvert reality through art and trying to tell you that these things is totally normal for women to be in charge. I mean, we're dangerously close to having our first female president this year. And you may be thinking that it's sexist for me to bring up such a thing, like, oh my god, you have a problem with a female president? Well, why weren't there female presidents before? When are women gonna get drafted, huh? Like, are we gonna finally abolish the draft? Can I finally wear that pretty sundress I've been eyeing at and not be called a raging massive in the middle of the street for subverting or just alleviating myself of all my toxic male gender roles and just being the pretty femboy I was always meant to be? Not that I would ever do any of that kind of shit because that's gay. But like, you want, hopefully you understand the point I'm trying to get at here is that they say that art reflects reality, and then there's people who say that reality is actually reflective of art. Now, I don't think that art can truly brainwash someone like that, but I do think that there is an attempt to try to subvert people's interpretations of life through just constant hammering of the message in media, right? This is what happens when I don't script stuff. I tend to stutter a lot. I've also been sick recently, so my mental clarity isn't as good as it should be. But what am I going to do? Wait 2 weeks for this video to get erased from history before I even make the damn response video? But it's like, dude, come on. Like, you either know or you don't know. But don't act like you don't. I guess she just doesn't know. I guess she just really doesn't know why that's a problem. She really doesn't know what the message even is. She doesn't know about the message, guys. That's the only way that you could make a video like this and not immediately be like, oh, wait a minute, maybe they crammed a whole bunch of strong black women and the pregnant woman with the machine gun and stuff. Maybe that's to push progressive politics in the media that I consume. Maybe that's why that's there, you know. But because she's not a noticer, she didn't pick up on that. Very interesting.
Ever. It's not even Synthetic Man himself that made me leave. It's the community themselves, because like they're just sheep.
Okay, so now let me sit up because I've been like laying down because, like I said, I was sick. So I'm gonna start sitting up and getting a little more, I guess, aggressive with this, a little more pungent. I gotta wake the fuck up, right? Because now she's going to start talking about the community, and this is where the bullshit really sets in. The first part was just her not understanding what the Fallout show and stuff, and it was mainly about that. But now she's going to start trying to frame it as, oh, the community is why I left. The community made me leave. Okay, for starters, nobody kicked you from any of these Discords. Again, you weren't kicked. You left. And, they're all sheep. How are they sheep? Because they disagree with you? Define sheep, right? What do you mean by that? Like, seriously, what do you? I can't even think of anything else to add to that. This is a really bold claim that is very unfounded, and we're gonna explain why that is.
Like, this isn't every Synthetic Man fan. Obviously, there are a lot of Synthetic Man fans that I absolutely love. Like George the Gunwalker is probably my.
George is a fucking troll, right? He's more of a detractor than a fan. He basically makes fun of him. Your favorite synth fan is the guy that makes fun of him. Very interesting.
My favorite one.
Oh, and George is also kind of a raging Natsock LARPer, so that's something to also keep in consideration. Did you know that? Did you know that George has tried to get us to associate with white nationalists against our will and tried to like have them flood into the Discord? So you like the Fallout show, but your favorite synth fan is the closest thing to a Natsock out of every single person who was in that group. That's interesting.
And that's his whole channel, really, is that he just uploads funny Synthetic Man videos.
He uploads those clips to make fun of him. Okay, I'm not even gonna emphasize that shit. I don't even hate George or anything like that. It's just that George is kind of a shit starter, and that's kind of why I try to avoid. I just leave him to his own devices. But he tries to hit me up and stuff or whatever. I forgot. Do I have him added on Discord or not? As a friend, like I don't even hate the guy. It's just like I feel like he's more like he's probably a teenager LARPing as a white nationalist because he thinks it's funny. That's what I think is happening anyway. And I don't know, he's probably gay too. I don't know. I just feel like anytime someone tells me they're a white nationalist, all I'm thinking to myself is that you're probably just gay and you want to pretend that you hate people like me to compensate for the fact that you like taking up the butt.
And I still watch Synthetic Man. Like, I do. I still watch him. And I still go into his streams. The only problem is that people...
You go into his streams to make ooh-woo simp jokes and not add anything to it. It's like... I know I sound like I'm having a brain aneurysm responding to this, but, like, Anna, you have this problem where you make a video that's, like, 30 minutes long where you don't say anything. And I know this because I've been going through all of your old content for this video project that I'm working on, and you don't really say shit. You really don't. I'm sorry. I'm just being brutally honest about it. I don't even mean any hate by it, but like Jesus fucking Christ. I still watch the streams. I'm still a fan, you guys. I still watch it. What? Ironically, like, oh my god, it's like saying that you're a fan of Synthetic Man would be like me speed reading through the Bible in 5 minutes and saying I read the Bible when I didn't understand anything in it. You see what I'm saying? You're consuming the content, but you don't know what any of it even means.
People hated me because I had a different opinion about a fucking TV show. Like, Jesus, man.
Nobody hated you for having a different opinion on the show. We just criticized why you would defend such a blatantly woke show. But nobody hated you for that. That's literally just a lie. That's womanese, bro. That's womanese for men disagree with me, so now I feel bad. That's not what happened.
And like they called me woke because I didn't agree with what he said.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're defending a woke show, so people are gonna call you a woke toy for defending a woke show. Uh, you know, maybe if women actually belonged in male spaces, they would have the balls to withstand such criticism without immediately folding. But because peak woman moment, this is a hatred against la woman, so they pushed me out. They casted me out of the community. Oh, I got thrown out of the community, even though I willfully walked out because some evil asshole on Discord asked me to elaborate further on what I meant about something instead of taking that as an opportunity to do something more analytical. I just got mad and left. Come on, man. Like, that's not what happened. That lady, that is not what happened. Don't even start.
And it's like, dude, I support nothing on the left aside from weed. That's it.
I mean, it's debatable that you should really be supporting that. I don't know. I just kind of have an anti. It's funny how I'm pro prawn in a lot of ways, but I don't know. I just don't like weed. It's because I've smoked it, and I've had I've had like weird hallucinations and stuff. I don't like drugs. Like I don't like mushrooms and that kind of stuff. THC. It makes me feel weird. I feel like weed promoting like the legalization of weed is just kind of promoting people to veg out and like just kind of like exist and not exist at the same time. If you know what I'm alluding to. You know, just smoking weed, playing video games one day and then doing it the next day and then doing it the next day and then doing it the next day. But there's our medical marijuana purposes and stuff, so I don't think it should really be legalized. There's reasons to smoke weed. There are benefits, but I feel like the whole conversation about the legalization of weed, it's like talking about the legalization of alcohol. Well, actually, at least weed has some benefits. Alcohol has no benefits at all.
That's it. Make weed legal because cigarettes are legal. Why not just make fucking weed legal? That's it. That's the only thing I support on the left. Everything else.
I mean, I can agree with that at the very least, but I mean, like, I don't. I support that, but I don't support anything else on the left. You haven't said a single disparaging thing about gay people, like since as long as I've watched your content, Anna. I don't think you've ever said anything about why the normalization of homosexuality and transgenderism is actually bad. You know. So, like, what do you mean by that?
I don't support it. Uh, I hate the gay parades. I hate the trans movement because it's trying to force on little kids.
Okay, like I see this is what I'm talking about. I don't disagree with that statement, but like all because you said it doesn't mean that it's true. Like, can you elaborate more on why you think that? I just don't know if I can trust that statement because your actions speak louder than words, Anna. What you're doing and what you're saying, they're not matching. You defended a woke as shit show, and now your response to that, your defense is that, well, I'm not against. I'm against everything on the left. I'm not for gay parades or the trans movement or any of that stuff. Okay, but like, then why are you defending this woke slop show? Oh my God, stop bullying me. Well, what kind of response is that? That just doesn't make any sense. You know? The funny thing about it is those two things aren't even mutually exclusive. You can't be anti woke and maybe say that you like a show more so than other woke shows, or a show isn't as woke or something. But like, come on.
I don't like that. So I don't understand why people think that like I'm woke because I didn't think a TV show was as bad as people said it was. I still don't like it. I think it's just schlock. I
Okay. I don't understand why people think I'm woke after I got through defending a woke show. Does that really need an explanation? If you don't see any of the blatant propaganda in that show, and then you turn around and defend it, and then people who do see the propaganda, that they're gonna say that you're woke because you're defending this woke show. Like, yeah, like what do you mean? Oh my god, I like. Why are they calling me woke? It's so bad. Like, I'm not woke, guys. I swear I'm a conservative. Okay, I swear, I swear. Why is that your response though? You would think that you would just make a video elaborating on that instead of shutting your entire channel down. Look, I don't know what this woman's mental health is like. I know that she's talked about the 41% squad before in the past, and that watching Synthetic Man videos allegedly stopped her from doing that. Which, if any of that is true, and I'm sorry, but well, I hope you got some help for that, because that's not a normal response. That's I wouldn't want that type of fangirl around my arms. It's like, oh, your content stopped me from offing myself. That's very creepy, Anna. It really is. But you're trying to pretend like, oh, who's AnnaWaifu? Like, that whole part of your past just doesn't exist at all, and now you're addressing it because of course everyone recognizes your voice. Your voice, as not melatonin, monotone as it is very distinctive. But it's like, I don't know how you can't see the obvious issue here. You don't understand what woke even means. So you then turn around and defend woke slop. And it's like, why is everyone calling me woke? I don't understand, even though I don't even understand what Synthetic Man's definition of woke is, because I don't know what any of it means, because you shouldn't even be here.
I don't like the show at all. I don't watch it. I don't care about it. And
I don't watch it. I don't care about it. That's an awful good way of downplaying it, because before you were talking about how Black Guy or Maximus or whatever the fuck is a good character, and you were talking about how the story was fine and that you liked the show. But now, see, see this is what I'm talking about, right? You see the deceit. Do you see the deceit that this woman is trying to unleash upon us? She went from saying that she liked the show to now saying that she didn't really watch the show and that she just watched videos about the show, but she doesn't actually like the show. So she went from defending the show to saying that she didn't even watch the show. Check this shit out, right?
the only thing, and I only knew what happened in it because I just looked up spoilers and I just looked up what other people were saying about it, and I just watched other videos. So like, I, I, I don't get it. So that's why.
That you were being awfully defensive for a show that you allegedly didn't watch, when before you made it clear that you had watched multiple episodes and you were getting on Synthetic Man's case for only basing his opinion on like one episode. I don't know. And I know you deleted those videos, but the internet is forever. I have those videos downloaded on my computer. I can just pull up the evidence of what you said. Like, I know exactly what you said. I can look it up. You you watched this show. You're trying to say you didn't watch the show. You made it clear that you watched the show already. So this is just not true.
I left the community. I was just like fucking tired of it. Okay, so where was I this rant? I got a call.
Me too, honey. I had to split the recording into two parts because I had to open the door. I know the feeling.
Okay, so that I don't know what else I can say really. It was just a community, I guess. Because if you don't agree with everything they say, they like call you like a traitor and they kick you out of the community, right?
That's not what happened. And you can ask a certain homosexual that very same question. Like, did the Synthcels kick you out? No. But I did leave because everyone was making jokes about me doing gay role playing, and it was like it was so horrible. It was like a frat house. They were like kept whipping me with their coiled up towels in the gym locker room. They just kept smacking me on my ass over and over again. They wouldn't let me live it down. What are you? Oh, they ostracize you from the group if you don't agree with them. Who did that to you? Examples. Anna, I need receipts that this actually happened. I'm only saying that because the server that we were in together, this didn't happen at all. So, and if you're saying it universally, so I don't understand it. You're saying that applies to everybody. You could have at least stayed with us. We didn't do anything like that to you. What do you mean? Oh, but I do remember you complaining about us making Broly jokes about you, like saying that, oh, this is actually AnnaWaifu in real life, and there's a picture of Broly or something. And it's like, I see you guys talking shit about me. That's not talking shit about you, okay? We're just making jokes about the fact that we don't know what you look like, and if you know anything about the internet, how there's no women on the internet. You can't tell me that you're a woman in nerd spaces and don't recognize the absence of your kind in these spaces and why men might make jokes about women, men larping as women on the internet. Like, honey, these are jokes. These are jokes. My God. Okay, whatever.
Right? And they think that every single woman on planet Earth has like this ability to attract men.
Maybe not every single woman on Earth, but definitely a lot more women have this ability than men. Holy fucking shit! Like, okay, let me do a shit test for you real quick, right? I'm probably outing myself by saying this, but fuck it, I've already done it. I've done it on my old channel. I think I'll just post this on my old channel. Fuck it, I won't even put this on the new channel. I'll put this on the old channel. I'll make that the junkyard channel. But have you ever heard of the website Big Cuties? Type in Big Cuties, embrace yourself for horrible images beyond your wildest imaginations. And you tell me that, and now show me an example of a website where a bunch of fat guys are showing their asses and balls and shit on people like that. I mean, I know Nikocado Avocado has a fucking OnlyFans or some shit. I don't know how this deranged asshole managed to do it. But like, he's like a meme, but like hungry fat chick, the woman that he would hang out with used to be a prawn star. That's just and that's not a joke, by the way. She like look up Candy Godiva. It's the same person. It's the same picture, right? So the point I'm trying to get at is that the women that even the lowest of the low women, unless you're like truly horrifically ugly, and even then, like I've seen like women with really ridiculous skin conditions that make them look like they're just burnt zombies or something still are pregnant. They get a boyfriend, they even get pregnant. It was on one of those episodes of like Strange Love. I saw that shit. I was just like, oh my God, like he didn't marry Skeletor. He's married to a fucking re-dead. He had sex with a re-dead, guys. But nah, man, it's very different for sub five guys. I don't consider myself to be sub five, right? I mean, I'm definitely not the best looking guy, but I occasionally have women hit on me. It's very, very rare, but certain types of women might come up to me. I definitely had women come up to me when I was in high school. I'm over 6 foot, so that also helps with getting women's attention. But it's just not the same because women are not attracted to the same things in men that men are attracted for women and women for. And not only that, right? But you also have to acknowledge that since the gender dynamics are different, women have way more options, so women get to be more picky. Well, guys might be more desperate or willing to settle. And there's the difference in like the sex drive. Men, they have to spread their seed to as many women as possible. So I just gonna bang her, bang her, bang her, bang her, so they can all have my kids. While women are far more selective. It's called hypergamy. You seem to be, you claim to be right leaning. You claim to be based. You know what hypergamy is because basically all women have it. I know the only women that I've met who wouldn't be considered hypergamous are all like trans men. So point is that when you say that, oh, not all women have it easy, it's like it's just as hard for us women, guys. Women can be black players too. I couldn't help but notice this trend of like anytime men start something, women come in afterwards to say women can do it too. That's very interesting. All these men start doing their Elliot Rogers impression, and now all of a sudden, women want to come out and be like, "Well, you're incels too, tee hee," even though I have a boyfriend. That doesn't make any sense at all. Anna, if you were a man, getting a girlfriend would have been a lot hard. You wouldn't have gotten that lucky. You probably wouldn't have. Well, maybe you would have. A certain someone I know might be getting some action pretty soon, but we'll have to see how that ends. Because if it ends horribly, and then he goes on about how terrible women are, then that just kind of confirms that it's kind of hard for men to do that. But I will say that I think that black pillars are kind of their own worst enemies. That's a whole rant in of itself. But if I hate women, I can't get any pussy, so I hate women. You're part of the problem. Let's not kid ourselves. I believe that the vast majority of incels are their own problem. But there's definitely an issue where men have to do more to get a woman's attention. That's just it is what it is. I don't really say that it's necessarily a bad thing either. It's just nature. I don't think it's negative, right? But don't try to tell me that the sky is green on a summer day. That's not what's happening. Women have it just as hard. You really don't. You 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 just don't. You'd have to be a sub 5 guy to truly understand it. Maybe you should try cosplaying as a guy, like that one chick who Minecrafted herself, but pretending to be a guy for like a month or some shit after realizing that actually it is hard being having a penis because people don't really give a shit about you when you are part of the most disposable sex.
And it's like they don't count the women like me who are average looking at best, and I was freaking lonely all the way throughout high school.
Define lonely. Now, I'm not trying to disparage on this woman, saying that her experience isn't real or anything. Because I know what it's like to be lonely in high school. Not like I didn't have any friends growing up. I only had like one friend. Actually, high school I would say it wasn't good, but that's when I got tall. So like people treated me very differently when I was tall. When I was in grade school, I got treated like shit. But I noticed that when I had like the all of a sudden I had the body of this tall Tyrone jock dude, and now people started treating me very differently. It's almost like there's some truth to lookism. It's really weird. But yeah, I'm not trying to say that this woman's experience didn't occur, but there needs to be some elaboration on what this woman means by lonely. It's like, are you lonely because you were ostracized? Were you lonely because you have mental issues like depression that wasn't being addressed? Or were you lonely because you couldn't get Chad and you refused to settle for that nice little sub 5 guy who was trying to give you flowers and hit you up, but you ignored him because get away from me, right? Like that's what a black pillar would tell you is the actual thing that you did. Not saying that that is what she did, but that's kind of my point is that without any real elaboration, she's just saying I was lonely too, but that doesn't really explain why. And the reality, whether you want to admit it or not, is that a lot of women's loneliness is kind of by choice when you compare it to men, simply because the dynamics are different. Like a sub 5 guy gets ostracized from society, basically. That doesn't really happen to women unless you're like absolutely unbelievably ugly. And I wouldn't even say that, to be honest. Like the things that I've seen, Anna, if you started an OnlyFans, you actually had at least some savviness to actually run the damn thing, you'd probably be successful. Like let's not cap. I mean, even fucking Zoe Quinn had a prawn career, which just says something that people out there somewhere was someone was slapping their salami to fucking Zoe Quinn of all people. It's just not that hard for women. So you'd have to give me some examples because again, the underlying issue could be that you're a mental cell, but I don't think it's because you're an average girl and men don't want to be bothered with average women. You can't convince me with this incel epidemic that there wasn't some beta male simp cuck nerd sitting there in the sidelines desperately waiting for a woman like you to come into their life. I have a hard time believing that guy just wasn't there, but weirder things have happened, I guess.
It was just pure luck that I found somebody. Like, I'm not even kidding, dude. Like, they.
Was it really luck, or did you just finally start trying? I don't know. I just feel like there's a part of this story that's being left out to make women look like the innocent little victims they always are. When in actuality, I think anyone who pays attention to social dynamics knows that men have a much harder time getting laid than women do. Like let's be honest here. Like come on, stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap. No bullshit.
I actually think. Like, they're talking about, like, the 1% of women.
See, and this is what I'm talking about. The 1%. You no, we're not talking about Stacy. Yeah, I know there's all this talk about chat this and chat how women only want chat, but when people say women only want chat, they're not saying Stacy only wants chat. I don't think any sub five guy is so deluded with their horrible looks that they would believe that oh my God, only Stacy wants chat. Wasn't Stacy like me? Even though she's top of the 1%, she's only going after the 1%. I don't get it, right? They're talking about how their looks match won't even bother with them because their looks match has way more options than they do. That's what they're talking about. What do you mean? All right, and the funny thing too is that from what I can tell, a lot of these people calling themselves sub five look pretty normal to me. So I don't really get it. You would think that maybe if you tried a little bit harder, you could probably get a girl. You would think, right? But that I think that's the real issue. Honestly, if you were to ask me what I think the real issue with the whole sub five incel thing is, right, is that a bunch of normal looking guys who would have been, perfectly fine in a previous dating culture have now been teleported into this hellscape of Tinder and Bumble or whatever the fuck apps these kids are using nowadays. And women, their hypergamous nature has been unleashed onto the world like fucking the 13 ghosts of Scooby Doo. They're just running around now with all this hypergamous intent, swiping left, or right, or whatever, banging Chad and Tyrone and all this kind of stuff. They don't have to settle for the little sub five guy at their job if they don't have to, because now they have these plethora of options. So guys who would have gotten laid a couple of generations ago are now struggling because now they have to compete with every man around them. Like they're not just competing with their own village. Now they're competing with some Chad all the way off in Dubai that a woman would rather fly out to bang him than bother with some ugly sub five quote unquote creep who it doesn't really meet her standards, but is otherwise might even be a nice guy. I don't know, right? That's what's actually what I think is actually going on here. But see, women don't have that same experience because men don't get the opportunity to just swipe left on every woman they don't like and only swipe right on Stacy's unless you're a Chad. See, what she just said is true, but just replace women with men, right? Because unless you're the top 1% of men or 10%, whatever top percent you want to use, unless you're one of the top men, you're just not getting the same kind of action that an average woman gets. These women are just getting banged left and right. Just you know, because it's easy. Because it's easy for women to do that. And if you're like one of the top men, you have it better than everybody. But if you're like a seven or below, you're not even treated like a person in the dating market. I could ramble on more and more about it. I just want to try to put it in my own words. But if you really want to hear a more coherent, structured take on like what I'm saying, right? Like what I'm talking about, look up Ho Math, HOE Math, right? Look up Ho Math on YouTube. He has a whole channel talking about dating advice and all this kind of stuff, and he talks about the relationship dynamics of modern dating. If you watch those videos and you still don't understand what the sub five dilemma is actually about, I can't help you because like there's no I don't think there's any better channel out right now that really goes into detail about what's actually happening here. And this whole idea that like the average woman is having a hard time getting dates, that's just not true.
That's who they're talking about. That's about it. Like the 1% of women who have like amazing ass looks, and they think that like every single woman is able to get a man just like that, and it's like
I've seen 650-pound land whales get men, and they're not even attractive in the face. It's not that hard for women. I don't know what else to say. It's just not that hard for women because it's different. Because men and women are different. This is just a lie. This is just womanese. This isn't happening, Anna. Maybe you don't have that much of a social life and you don't really recognize that, but it's that's not what's going on, man. Like those women, like again, look up big cuties. Those women, if those women don't have boyfriends, it's by choice because they definitely have tons of simps that are paying for videos of them shaking their fat jiggly asses. You don't have to be that attractive to get a boyfriend. It's just not the same because men aren't hypergamous like women are. It's just not the same.
do you Yeah, don't count the women like me who've been lonely since like high school. And then it was pure luck that I found somebody. So, and he's like average, and that's completely okay, you know. So,
So you mean to tell me that there wasn't any average guys before him in high school that see that's just very difficult to believe. Like again, this is what I'm saying. Like I think your problem, Anna, is that you might be a mental cell because of the whole like 41% squad thing with you and Synthetic Man. Like if that has any truth to it, it was probably something psychological that was preventing you from making connections with people, autism or something along those lines. But it definitely wasn't your looks. No, if you were just a regular normie girl who had like even if you had your face smashed in by a frying pan, you would have gotten dates because it's just not that hard for women.
I don't know, man. I think at the time, I liked the community, but then after they ostracized me for really stupid reasons.
We didn't ostracize you. We criticized you, and then you left in a huff. And even when I asked you to elaborate on your position, you didn't take me up on the opportunity, but you did immediately leave the server after I said that. I couldn't help but notice that. I have the receipts of that. That's not what happened at all. See, this is what I'm talking about. I was ostracized from the community. Translation: the community disagreed with me on one of my videos. I had a bad take on a video. Like when Synth did his Fallout video, you said that was a bad take. Or when Synth did his Doom Eternal video, you said that was a bad take. You had your own bad take, but you couldn't handle the heat, so you left. What do you mean? We didn't ostracize you. Nobody told you get the fuck out of here, gamer girl. We questioned the sincerity of what you were talking about because you started to make apologetics for this woke shit show. And instead of defending yourself or elaborating on anything, you just left. And now you're framing it as the fan base ostracized you. That's not what happened.
That's when I was like, okay, I gotta get out of here. Like, this is really damaging my mental health. I hate having to bend over my content backwards just to accommodate these people.
I don't know, and you talk, and then you immediately start talking about mental health. Maybe you should get off the internet or go to a more of a safe space on the internet. And I don't mean that as an insult. I'm being genuine when I say that because the pattern that I'm noticing, it sounds like you have some like deeper mental problems that make it harder for you to like tolerate criticism. Like you seem like you're the type of person that if something goes a little too off the rails, like you don't really get your way, so to speak. I don't mean that in a spoiled child kind of way, but like something like goes wrong, that you have a more extreme reaction to someone else who might be more mentally grounded, and that's not something that you should feel ashamed of, but it's something that should be acknowledged and that it should be addressed. Like if you have to take Zoloft to make ends meet, then you gotta do what you gotta do, but let's not get into the habit of framing this as the mean evil sexist Synthcels pushed me out of the community. That's not what happened. I think you're just interpreting it that way because there's something going on upstairs that's making you interpret something as being worse than it actually is, or something that it wasn't, which is another reason why you shouldn't be communicating with Synthcels or watching Synth. Like I would stop watching Synth for your own mental health. I'm being genuine here. And, some of the stuff Synth says, it's kind of just gay. I mean, come on, he likes Fuda. Like, he's not the white nationalist ubermensch people want to make it sound like he is. Like let's might be time for you to just move on to greener pastures. You know, I don't know. I'm still of the opinion that when people talk too much about progressivism and talk about my white ethno state, you can just replace that entire paragraph with just I forgot who it was in like the little Tingle costume. He jumps off the stove. He just goes, "I'm gay." Like that's the whole rant, right? I mean, I just read about this gay Natsock who was like under like Hitler's regime not too long ago. It's like I don't know. I'm just noticing a pattern. I know it's a weird tangent, but I'm just noticing a pattern of a lot of people who are secretly just really, really, really progressive or just or just a couple of steps away from doing gay prawn, and they this LARP as a nat sock to compensate for the fact that they're actually gay. It's the weirdest shit. I don't understand where it's coming from. But yeah, the racist to homosexual pipeline is very much a real thing. I actually knew someone else too in my personal life who was like autistic and gay, but wouldn't stop talking about brown people. It's like that's very strange.
So yeah, I know people are gonna be asking me because all my viewers are coming back, which I think is funny because I don't even stop watching him. I never said I stopped watching him. Like I still watch him to this day. You know.
Yeah, if I go to a screening of a movie half asleep and I don't remember anything that happened in it because I wasn't paying attention, did I watch it? All because you're watching the content doesn't mean you understand the content. That's kind of the point I was getting at.
Like I never stopped at all. So obviously I still like him if I'm still watching him. And
Define light. Is it because he's a cute little jester that you like? He has a cute voice. Is it because you simp for him, or do you actually agree with anything that he actually says? Do you understand any of his talking points? Okay, Anna, real talk. Did you know what the word miscegenation meant before you watched Synthetic Man talk about it? And did you actually bother to look into it when he talked about it? Are you familiar with any of those talking points at all? I don't think you really understand who this guy is or is pretending to be in between, Garuda buck breaking sections. I don't think you actually know who this guy is. You keep saying you're a fan of him, but you're not reading in between the lines and noticing the very blatant dog whistling in these videos. It's very weird.
I don't say anything negative about him. The only negative thing I ever talked about was when he said that stupid stuff about the Fallout show. But everyone has dumb takes here and there. There's nothing wrong with that. But no, you guys got to protect your king. So, oh god, people told me I was a simp.
Nobody told you you were a simp. You identified as a simp. That was your tagline. The biggest female simp on YouTube. You made yourself into that. What do you mean by that? You chose to be that. You identified as that. That was all you. What the fuck?
So yeah, I don't know what else I can say really. I think that's just about it. I can't stand these I can't stand having to uh like did they just go on a wall? But I can't stand having to bend my content backwards for these people, and that's why I left the community. But
You say content plural as if you had to like edit several videos around what people want you to hear. Like so that's almost kind of a red flag right there. I'm tired of having to bend my content around these people. Define content. Was all the previous videos that you made were just telling people what they wanted to hear, or was that what you actually believed? What do you mean by that? Nobody was trying to make you change the video or change your opinion. They just criticized what your opinion was, and now you're just like, oh, I'm tired of having to bend my contents over backward to please these people. I'm done with this community. I'm done with them because they criticized me once. That only happened one time. And all you had to do was make a follow-up video explaining like what your thoughts were more in depth on the Fallout show. Instead, you made Fallout the follow-up videos addressing the fan base and criticizing Synth more and doubling down on everything that you said, but not elaborating on any of it. You could have did like a per episode review of the Fallout show or something if you wanted to do something like that. Could have been interesting. You could have done anything other than just tap out of the community when they disagree with you on something. But so when you delete all your videos and run away like that, that tells me that like even that your take on Fallout videos were bad because you didn't have the guts to stand by it. Why didn't you stand your ground and just say no, you guys are wrong. In fact, I'll explain to you why you're wrong because I have the receipts to show that. And the fucked up part about it, Anna, is that this is not the first time that someone has criticized your lack of receipts on something. Because I've seen response videos to you before in the past, and a common theme that I notice from these people is that you say something in the video You don't provide any receipts that it happened, and then you proceed to rant as if the thing that you said happened, but there's no evidence that it happens. And then people like Brother Near and stuff notice that like it didn't go unnoticed. I'm not saying that they aren't pieces of shit in their own way, but like, look, yeah, I think you might have to go Dutch on this one. You might have to split the bill 50-50. Yeah, those people fuck up when they have these overreactive sissy baby reactions to dysgenics jokes in a fucking God of War, bore of snore Ragnarok stream. But at the same time, you're getting involved by just defending synthetic man so you can get attention and saying stuff like, "Oh, these people are bullying me. They're doing this or doing that with no evidence that it's happening." Like you're not really good at making strong arguments. And I get that these are more like vlog posts for you, and they're not really meant to be argumentative. I mean, this is a vlog post for me. That's why I'm slurring so many words together because I only got like 6 hours of sleep and shit. You don't want to hear that, right? But hopefully, the more down to earth, like not overly edited, more down to earth tone of the video kind of makes the point more clear, not less. I would edit it, but I don't know. This isn't something that's worthy of like I think an erroneous amount of editing or some kind of just disingenuous nature. I feel like this requires a more a heart to heart type of response, And oy vey, I'm not. I don't think you really understand the type of shit you got yourself into, and I don't think you understand the gravity of what's going on here. It sounds like you fucked around and got yourself onto like the more 4chan-y, or more like a shardy soyjack party fucking side of the internet, where you don't belong by fucking around with people like Synth because you think he's cute. Like you'd follow a white nationalist to an edge of a cliff because he's cute, and you don't understand how you even got there. You don't understand any of the things that he even said because you just don't. You don't pick up on the message. You don't pick up on the dog whistling. You don't know what the message even is. What do you mean? What do you mean? Right? And now you're talking about how I'm tired of having to warp my content around what these assholes want me to say. No, you never had to do that. All you had to do was stand your ground. That's all you had to do. I mean, that's what Synth did when people criticized his Doom Eternal video. He didn't just take it down. He stood his ground. You could have did the same thing. Man, so call me a sexist all you want in the comment section. I really don't give a shit at this point. But this is what I mean when I say women don't belong in male spaces, because this is definitely a woman moment. A man wouldn't have done that, or I don't know, maybe a certain type of man would have done that, but most guys probably would have, even if they had abandoned their channel, they probably wouldn't have just outright caved like that. But that wouldn't have happened.
But I still watch him, so it doesn't really matter. I don't know. I don't know, man. It wasn't synthetic, man. It was just the community himself, and like, yeah, he said stupid shit. He didn't need to.
Because we disagreed with you, not because there was at whole people trying to dox you or send pieces to your house or call you a bitch or anything like that. They called you woke because you defended a woke show, and you basically backpedaled on a whole bunch of shit and proved that you didn't understand the deeper messaging, right? The deeper meaning behind any of Sim's content. You couldn't recognize propaganda when it was blatant in your face. You were called out for that, and instead of addressing those issues, you screamed bullying. They're ostracizing me from the community, and you burned everything down, and you tried to make two separate channels. One where you talked about water parks, and now you're pretending to be a big booby VTuber, presumably to get the attention of more virgin males on the internet, to get the attention of more virgin men. I I can't not pay attention. I gotta sit up for this because I laid back down ages ago. I gotta sit back up for this one. You mean to tell me you make a second channel to talk about water parks or some shit, and now it becomes lost media, and now you're making this third channel where you have a VTuber avatar, this conventionally attractive VTuber avatar with big thick glasses, gothic, fucking ghost faced hoodie and shit, and you give it breast implants And you mean to tell me that that's not meant to like get people's attention? Maybe that's a power fantasy for you to cosplay as a woman with big titties. I don't know. But I look at this and I think about every other titty streamer I've watched over the years. You know, it's like you broads come in to just get attention from lonely men. Like you look at the sea of virgin males, these virgin doomer males, and it's like, well, I'm a low tier Becky. I can't really get Chad, but if I fish in this pond, it'll be way easier for me to succeed. So I'm gonna go in here and prey on these people instead because that will work. That's what I've seen anyway. I'm not necessarily saying that that's what AnnaWaifu is doing, but it wouldn't be the first time I've seen a Becky try to do that shit. I even have a story in my own personal life of this one chick who pretended to be a gamer and got a Wii and stuff to try to get some nerd's attention. And then when she got bored of him, she just dumped him. He ended up, playing a 41% Squad years before it came out. He got an early copy of that 41% Squad. Ended up cremating him. I think they sold his motorcycle and everything. Like, yeah, he's donezo. He's gone because some woman played with his emotions and then she got bored, and I don't know what happened to that Wii that she pretended. The guy, like, women are chameleons. You ladies will pretend to be interested in whatever the guy is interested in to get his attention. That's just something women are known to do. That may not be all women, but you got to acknowledge that your sisters do that shit. So it gives everyone else a bad reputation. Like, stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap. No bullshit. Like, come on. What are you talking about? Nobody ostracized you. You got mad that you were criticized one time. That's what actually happened.
Say what YouTuber hasn't, and just that pressure, I think, is what just kind of made me break down. Like I
Pressure breakdown. Okay. See, this is what I'm talking. This sounds like mental stuff, which I'm not trying to make fun of that, but that needs to be acknowledged that, honey, there might be something going on upstairs. That's the real problem. In which case, you gotta stop watching synth. Like now, you gotta stop it. You gotta get off the internet. Just delete your channel. Get off the internet. Don't look back. Focus on your health. Like, don't do this to yourself.
I hated having, again, I just hated having to bend over for all these people to be safe without having.
Safe. No one was trying to do anything to you. See, oh my god. Like, what you have problems with paranoia? Do you have a history of paranoia in your family? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Do you have any diagnosed or undiagnosed mental issues that might cause you to say that? Because I'm not trying to be cheeky when I say that. I think something is up with you. That or you're speaking in womanese. I don't know. This is one or the other. But safe. Nobody was trying to go after you. What the fuck? Why are you trying to go on Discord of all places for safe spaces and shit? A room with a whole bunch of guys making Pepe memes and sharing images of swastikas with each other. And you're talking about being safe. Are you kidding me?
Having to express myself, and then when I finally did express my opinions, everybody went ape shit. So no more synthetic mini videos. I'm sorry, people who actually wanted that, but there is not going to be synthetic mini videos on this channel aside from this one. Maybe.
And the one that you made before that you deleted, which I have receipts of because I downloaded that before you deleted it. So there's that. So, my God, look, you keep making and deleting videos, Anna. That's kind of that shows me that you can't tolerate criticism. You've done it multiple times, and now you're like deleting, you're nuking channels left and right to try to escape your old fan base. But it's like you're being called out for being a snake, and you have two options. You can either get off the internet and just stop talking about Sims, just leave his name out of your mouth, or you can stand up to the allegations. And it sounds like you're choosing the latter option by making this video, but you're not really you're really defending your opinion on the show. You're trying to downplay that you defended this woke ass show. And I agree. It shouldn't really be that big of a deal that you like a woke shitty show. You can have your own opinions, but that's just it. Like, people criticized you, but they weren't trying to dox you or tear you down for that shit. Not unless you have receipts of people trying to do that. That's not what they tried to do to you. That's not what happened at all. So you're just exaggerating it. Like this is a very weird interpretation, and I feel like your interpretation of what actually happened is either you being a disingenuous snake woman, a succubi, or you have some kind of mental issue that's having you have these reactions to something. It's one or the other. You're either lying or you might need to get some help. Take a break for your own mental health. You might have some mental problems that need some addressing. Nothing to be ashamed of, just something that should be acknowledged. And if it's for the benefit of your mental health, I would just say stop making content. Period. Like stop making content and come back when you are in a better state of mind and are more ready to take criticism. Because I can tell you from experience that YouTube is not for the faint of heart. I've had like comments of people just accusing me of whole sorts of crazy things. I've made videos where I've been angry before. I've gotten angry response videos. So the feuds. I've done it all. I've been there. I even got the T-shirt. I got the T-shirt and the mug and shit to prove it. I've been there and done that. It's not for everybody. Yeah, I quit YouTube a long time ago because of that shit. I'm only just now trying to give it another shot because I think I might be better at it now in my current state than I was when I did it before. So maybe YouTube just isn't for you right now. But don't spread this lie that you were ostracized from the community and that people went ape shit against you and stuff. Because I was in the comment section of those videos and stuff. That's not what happened. It's not what happened at all. I should have screen capped that shit. If I knew you were just gonna lie about how people reacted to your content like that, I would have screenshotted that shit. Because you need to give me some evidence that it was really like that. You're trying to frame everybody as like they were bullying you for being a woman, and that they're evil and sexist and mean. That's not what happened. It's this straight up woman moment. If there's not something if there's not something going on upstairs, then this is just a straight up woman moment. In which case, please let that not be the case because that's way worse. That really just cements why women should not be in male spaces.
If the inspiration is there and the community chills the fuck out, maybe I'll come back.
So by chill the fuck out, do you mean kiss your ass? Because I mean, we already rolled out the red carpet for you. You were one of the people who got into the server without having to do an initiation first, because you had the AnnaWaifu fame stats attached to you, so we didn't even give you an initiation. Chill the fuck out. The only thing we didn't do was outright lick your taint. You were given a lot of free leverage just based on your YouTube channel and the fact that you were a supposed femcel, which turned out to not be true because you have a boyfriend. So this is women's hypergamy is never enough. So it's not enough that these men are kissing my ass. They need to tongue my butthole clean too. So, oh my god.
Do synthetic man videos again, but for the time being, synthetic man videos are off the table because I was so tired of having to accommodate all these people. And again, it's not like I'm not super into them, but it's like I just kind of grew up because I'm tired. Like I just kind of miss his old content, I guess, of him.
I'm not super. It's not that I'm not super into him. I just kind of grew up. I just feel like his old content where he said like the same stuff he says now, but it wasn't as blatant, I guess. But like, I don't understand what he means by woke because I'm not actually watching the content or really engaging with it. But I think he's cute. He just says some stupid stuff sometimes. But, like, I'm really into him, and I'm tired of like having to like warp my content, like have to change my content for these people. This no synthetic man videos coming. Sorry, you're not getting any more synthetic man videos where I defend synthetic man and simp for synthetic man and talk about how much I would love to be married to synthetic man and blah 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 blah. Those videos were all big nothing burgers, Anna. I don't want to be rude about it, but this is just a reality. I got to rip the band-aid off. When you talk about synthetic man content, it's just you being a simp. You don't add anything to the conversation. And it's becoming more and more blatant that the reason why you don't add anything is because you don't know anything about what's being talked about. And that just goes into my point about women invading male spaces so they can get attention. Why are you here?
Doing older game reviews. We don't get those anymore because no one watches them aside from the hardcore fans like us. So yeah, that's that's why I don't watch. That's why I don't not making synthetic man videos. Not left Synthetic Man himself, but I have left the community because there are a bunch of toxic people in there who hate women.
Toxic people who hate women. Can you give me an example of hatred of women from any of these people? I'll wait, right? Define hatred of women. So this is what I'm talking about. Oh, these guys that are sub five or fucking autistic and shit, and they are probably gay. These autistic gay guys larping as gnat socks. They're revolving around some guy who makes jokes about space toucans and just dog whistles to white nationalists and alt right people in every other video he produces. They also like hate women, despite the fact that if you were there for the because you've been left the server. Like we've had some conversations. I'm starting to wonder. It's like there's a lot of gynocentrism going on here. There was one guy who was in the server. There's a couple of days ago, about a week ago, who was getting on everyone's cases for being virgins, just spouting a whole bunch of gynocentric crap. So it's like, nah. So what do you mean hatred of women, right? I can definitely tell you that there's a lot more of. I have more reason to believe these people are racist and sexist. I'll put it to you like that. So if anything, the roles should be reversed. I should be making a video talking about how I was ostracized from the Synthcels because they're all a bunch of racists that hate black people. That's the video that should actually be listening to right now because there's more evidence to suggest that that's actually what's happening. It's just that, men know how to take a joke, women don't. So, there's that.
Or they don't like, they just kind of think women have like a easy button, but they're talking about the 1% of women who have the looks. Women like us who aren't that pretty do not have an easy life. Like, I have to work as hard just as everyone else has to.
Let's bring that back. What does she say, right? Men do have it hard, but so do women like me who have to put in effort. Yeah, so okay, so let me translate that for you, right? Because here's the problem, right? Let's say you're a low tier Becky and you have to actually put in effort to get a boyfriend. The thing is that you put in a little bit of effort and you actually get reward for your effort, as opposed to a sub five guy who can try and improve. I'm improving. I'm self improving, and no matter what he does, it never works out because if you're below a 7, you're fucking invisible to these women. That's the difference. Oh, average woman like me, they have to actually put in effort. Yeah, but if you put in effort, you actually get something back. So what? You're see, when people say women have an easy button, they don't mean like she just enters a room and everything is handed to her. It's more like if you just try a little bit, like if you just do the bare fucking minimum, you get rewarded for it, as opposed to a man who has to try super fucking hard to get nothing in return, right? Like, let's say you're a sub 5 Becky, and it's like, well, I can't just win automatically like Stacy, but if I make an OnlyFans account or show my big fat fucking ass on a prawn site, I can make millions of dollars from simps on the internet by just doing the bare minimum content. Like, Anna, your own videos prove my point. These are very poorly edited, very minimalistic, arguably bad audio quality videos that you just crank out of your ass. And you managed to get way farther than any man could have done making a similar channel. There's no way I could have made a channel simping for some female YouTuber that I liked for whatever reason and got nearly the same amount of success that you had back when you were AnnaWaifu. There's just no way that would have happened. And the only reason that happened is because you're a woman. Because men love women and men let women get away with a lot of stupid shit because of that. You guys do have it easy because of that. And you have it easy because we make it easy. It's just female nature and male nature. It is what it is. I'm not even using the words good and bad here. I'm just like, don't tell me the sky is green on a summer day. That's not what happened. Don't shit on my face and tell me that it's an eclair. You just laid a chocolate eclair down my fucking face. No, you didn't. It's a log of shit. That's just not true. And I don't know where this pity party is coming from, because so many women love to cry wolf. It's hard to make a distinction between who has generally had a difficult experience and who is just trying to make it all about themselves. So I apologize if that sounds like I am disparaging your personal experiences. I just can't tell the authenticity of what you are saying because you wouldn't be the first woman to have cried wolf. That's what I'm trying to say.
It's hard just as everyone else has too. And again, I was lonely all the way throughout high school. Like, I'd never. This is the first time I've ever had a BF like in my entire life. So, uh,
I mean, look, it's good for you. All I know is that for me personally, the movie 40-year-old version is looking more like a documentary. It's like so it's kind of outing myself with that one, but it's like, come on, man, like it's very different for guys in this position to try to get laid. But some average chubby dude, Elvis looking dude or whatever, like it sounds like you got a guy who meets your looks requirements too. Most guys would have to like settle for somebody that they aren't even particularly attracted to. There's just some kind of just to get something, just to get something out of a woman, just something. It's just not the same. I don't know what it's like. Again, look up Home Math, watch his videos. If you still want to say that, oh, that's not true. He's just a sexist, meanie, big meanie. Okay, well, where are your stats? Where are your statistics? Where are your charts? You have any counter information to prove, or is it just that he's a big sexist, meanie misogynist? Because misogynist is basically just the N word for men at this point. So, can you elaborate on that? Probably can't, because it's bullshit.
yeah, I just think that I just think people need to chill out in this community. Like, they need to shut the fuck up and let us have our own opinions, but they won't let you do that because they're a bunch of sheep.
We need to shut the fuck up and let you have an opinion. You could just mute the comments on your videos if you really don't want to have people have opinions on your opinions. But Synth could say the same thing about anyone who criticizes him. But you get in his case for silencing critics, and then you're saying that critics of your videos should shut the fuck up in the same breath. Because I remember you were trying to push that narrative that Synth was, claiming that all the people shitting on his Fallout video were bots, and that he was trying to silence criticism. And now you're saying that people should just shut up and let people have opinions. I don't know. My bullshit detector is going off. I'm reading that as a contradiction. I don't know. That just feels like hypocrisy to me, because you're complaining that people complained about you, but the whole thing stems from you complaining about Synthetic Man complaining about a show that you just happen to like, but you don't actually like it. It's just less woke than other shows, and you didn't really watch it, but you know all this stuff that happened in it because you watched a whole bunch of videos talking about it, but you didn't watch it. But like you watched it, but you didn't watch it because you made videos talking about how you watched it already and saying that people should watch the show before criticizing it because you watched it, but you didn't watch it. That's interesting.
Uh, More hating on the community. That's Synthetic Man himself. So there you go.
And here we go with the little VTuber avatar with the big boobs. Oh my god, lady, it might be time to just quit the internet. It might be time to just stop. I'm not sure if I'm gonna make these videos private or not. I think I'm gonna start off by maybe making the videos unlisted, because I wanted to release my first video before, like I had like a series of videos I wanted to, or it's not a series of videos. I wanted to release the first video that I had planned. I was gonna release before this video came out, and it's kind of like, okay, I should respond to this, but I wanted to release that video first before doing anything like this. And then I also wanted to like add some other plans or other things I wanted to do. But I might fuck it. I think I'll just make the videos public. I don't think I need to make the videos unlisted. Yeah, I just won't put them on the new channel. That's what I'll do. I'll just put them on the old channel instead. That way, because I'm trying to consider branding, because that shit affects your algorithm. So I'll boot up my old channel. It's kind of like a graveyard channel for where I like dump garbage. So if I have like a random thought on something and I don't want to edit a video, I'll put it on there. But put all the cleanly edited stuff with the skits and the jokes and stuff on the new channel instead. That's what I'll do. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. These are two separate videos, so I have to like string them together, or I guess I'm gonna upload it in two parts. But I don't know. Because if I string them together, it's going to be like an hour and a half, but it would also be more convenient if it was just one video. I don't know. I'm back to making 2 hour long response videos, guys. I'm back to making my video essayist slop. But I really got to take a piss, and it's about to be 2 hours, so I'm going to end it here. AnnaWaifu, please either get off the internet for the sake of your mental health, or get off the internet because you shouldn't be lying to men. Because lying to men, lying period, is bad. Stop lying. All right. See you guys in the next one.